All right, this mural was planned, I guess, early last spring. I wanted to do something for the community to really brighten up this area, to add a lot of energy and kind of show the different types of cultural influences that I experienced here growing up in Highland Park. So I got permission to do it. I started working on it probably around last June after a lot of preparatory sketches, a lot of compositional sketches and whatnot. I wanted to address a lot of different issues, but I think what was most important is I wanted something that everyone could enjoy. So I tried to do something that's very colorful, relatively simple, something that would grab people's attention. I thought was interesting is how oftentimes people don't think certain cultures could coexist with each other. And from my experience, I have a lot of interests that people didn't think I should have. Like, for example, I'm really into Jamaican music, and people ask me, like, why do you like Jamaican music? You're not Jamaican. And I thought it was interesting that, you know, that was a question that they would ask. So what I did here is I just brought in all different influences from all the cultures that I've experienced and threw them together into one whole and showed that they can coexist together, and there's something that unites all of these different influences and cultures. I probably spent a couple weeks doing sketches. I spent 3 months last summer messing it up, doing a lot of things incorrectly and painting things, painting over, repainting. And then this summer I came back and probably been working on it about a month, and it's basically done at this point. There was a mural on it before that. It was nice, but it had been here for a while, and we wanted something, or I wanted something that was done by Highland Park people, so they said go ahead and do it, which was very nice because I hadn't done a mural before. All right, I guess a lot of my influences artistically, since I hadn't taken art classes or gone to art school, I was always learning from kids who went to art school, but more than that, I was learning from graffiti artists. So I had a bunch of friends who were out just doing free art, giving it to the people, you know, for no compensation at all, just because they had this driving passion to create colorful images that people would enjoy. So I think that's where I got the inspiration. I wanted to do something that was free, that was for the people, and that, you know, people could just see every day. All right, so this is one of the most recent pieces that I did. A little bit more simple. The colors are a little bit more subdued, more natural tones. I wanted to just have a nice flow of energy and something that was accessible to everyone. We know it has a lot of visibility where it is on Raritan, and I wanted to kind of pay respect to some older art. I think you can see like the Greek influence and how the shapes move, and then you can see that they all have a single starting point, which I think I took from Islamic art, where everything can be traced back to an origin. And just like the palette here is a lot more subdued than the other mural I have. I didn't use as many complementary colors. I used stuff that worked together, and this one is all about movement. It's facing a synagogue, and I didn't want to have anything too crazy across from a place of worship. I thought that wouldn't be too respectful. And then also, yeah, it's right on Raritan, and I wanted something that, you know, kids and their grandparents could appreciate in the same way. And I think oftentimes with the color choices that I use, it's a little bit hard for some people to handle. So this one I wanted to just make for everyone, a little bit more classic, I think, with the color choices, and, you know, nice pattern here, very serene. Even though there is some sort of movement, it just has it's very peaceful. And this one is also executed a lot more quickly than the other ones. I planned it a lot better.
Yeah.
I did this in one weekend, and the way I did is I just planned the big shapes first. And it's interesting, I think I took the approach from graffiti where you do just an overall big shape, and then you get into smaller shapes and then get into detail. And at one point I was thinking of adding detail into each of these pieces, which is the approach I took on the other mural. But this one, I just wanted to leave it as it is. I think it has enough energy right now. Yeah, it has a very natural feel. I think a lot of these movements are from nature. I think you could, you know, the math people will like the hinting at the Fibonacci sequence, golden ratio, and I like the tangent lines coming across the curves. So see, my math mind comes into play here. I guess you can see it on the other mural too, but also, you know, this one is so visible on the main street. We couldn't do anything too crazy. Yeah, actually, we're planning on doing all of the walls around this building. We may have permission to do a couple other walls. All right, ideally, we would do one on the gateway into Highland Park from New Brunswick. I don't know if that's possible right now. We're still trying to figure out ways to get permission to do that wall. I think one that might be good is the wall next to Stop and Shop on Shawarma Express. I think we have permission to do that wall. Again, we're still working out the details and figuring out how that's going to happen. I was born and raised in Highland Park. I went to Highland Park High School, Irving School, and Bartle School. I went to Rutgers and then moved back here, and now I'm trying to do stuff for the community. I've noticed a lot of the people who are pursuing careers in arts move out to Philly or New York or even Jersey City and Hoboken nowadays, and we thought it'd be interesting to start some art movement here and kind of keep that talent in Highland Park and show what we have to contribute. So right now we're starting a store. It's going to be a retail store with a design firm in the back. So we're going to have an office where we're going to be doing design, doing websites, graphic design and whatnot. And in the front we're going to have a retail space that is really going to function as like a community meeting place. And the retail space is going to, we want to use it as to give the opportunity to emerging artists to show their stuff. We know it's very hard to pay rent around here, and another concern of mine is that oftentimes artists that are pursuing art in unconventional ways, such as people like street artists or graffiti artists, they don't have the credentials, and sometimes it's hard for them to get shows. So what we want to do is give them an opportunity to show their stuff here, maybe throw a show for them and help them learn, the ways to get into the art world, the more traditional way. But more than anything, we just want to create a think tank. We want a place that artists could come together, meet other artists, exchange ideas, and all benefit from the information that we all share. Not restricted to any particular type of art. We want to actually get rid of the boundaries between all arts. We want to promote dance, we want to promote video, we want to promote, obviously the fine arts, painting and whatnot. But we want to just show anything can be pursued as an art, and that's really what we want to promote. And we want to work with mostly emerging artists, younger artists. Okay, right now we're still in the planning stages. We are thinking of opening the doors for the retail space, kind of like a soft opening in early July, so people could get it, so we can meet the people, let them know what we're doing. We know in Highland Park people don't like closed storefronts, so we want to kind of show it as a work in progress, but probably the design firm won't be up and running till the end of July once we get the website going. And one important aspect of the whole business entity is the online visibility and having this strong online entity, because ideally we want to create an international gallery online, so we could link up with sister galleries around the world and all share our artists. So not just in Highland Park, but really expand.
Do you have other artists right now lined up that are involved in this?
Yeah, we have a bunch of Highland Park artists right now. We have Mike Nepomich, who's in his late 20s. He went to Mason Gross. We have Mike Weinberg, who's at School of Visual Arts right now, Arnie Weinberg. We work with a bunch of other artists, Willie Torres, who's another one who's more into street art. We have Michael Scharf, who does animation, and he's another guy who grew up here. And then we're working with the Salsa Studio that's located at 431 Raritan, hopefully to throw some of our parties. We're coordinating with other local businesses like the Michael Bianc Hair Salon. They're doing, for them, that is an art, doing the hair and makeup and fashion stuff. So we're working with them, hopefully working together to throw some cool parties. Working with other DJs and musicians from around. We have, Pace Bowden doing video. We have Mr. Green, Aaron Green doing his music. So we have a bunch of different people from around here. In the back, we're gonna have our offices closed to the public, and that's hopefully we'll get a screen printing press. We're gonna have a dark room. We're gonna have all the equipment to make our, and we want that to be a place where artists come and exchange ideas and work alongside other artists. And then in the front, that will be a retail space.
Have you been working with anybody in government to try to help this?
Yeah, we've been talking to the Highland Park Borough people, and they seem pretty supportive. We've been working with the Main Street organization, letting them know what we're trying to do, and they seem willing to cooperate and actually, work with us, which is very nice. And we're going to work with them and help give whatever resources we have. And then I think in the long run, we're really going to reach out and see if we want to go the grant route and whatnot. But for now, we just want to get the doors open, spread the word, do a lot of the marketing and promotion, and let people know what we're trying to do. Yeah, I think that the multicultural, and not just that it's multicultural, the fact that I think growing up here, you take multiculturalism for granted, and you don't realize that a lot of people don't grow up in that atmosphere. That growing up, we think it's normal to have people have a 5 different best friends, all from different countries, speaking different language, and it's just normal for us. And I thought that was really interesting here, and also the intellectual environment. Everyone's parents are people at Rutgers or psychologists or authors or whatever. I think everyone really is relatively smart in Highland Park. They're relatively culturally aware, and they seem to understand the bigger picture. And one way I describe it is I have, from growing up here, I don't really have any friends who are going into very boring careers just to make a lot of money. We have a lot of people who are doing politics or doing community organizing or becoming lawyers for to fight for the rights for other people. And I always thought that was very interesting because I went to Rutgers, and that's not I'm meeting people from a lot of different towns around here, and that doesn't seem to be the situation. I think the main thing is that we are trying to promote a cultural artist hub, a community center where people come together and exchange ideas. We're not necessarily going to offer classes or things like that, but we want people to be able to just come into our office and ask us questions. Like, for example, I met 2 people who just came here from Turkey 2 weeks ago, and the woman was asking, where she could take art lessons, and she started asking about charcoals and how to use acrylic paints. And I told her, just stop by the store. One of our friends will tell you what to buy. We want to be that type of place where people who just come by, ask us questions, and we just want to encourage people to have art as a part of their life, because I think no matter what career you pursue, you should have a little bit of art in your life to help keep yourself sane and stable and, in reality.
Our name of our band is Zuveel Davids, which is Yiddish for too many Daves. We actually have 3 people who are legally named Dave, but everybody else is an honorary Dave or Davida. The original 3 members were piano Dave Schlossberg, and bass Dave Schiff, and I'm David Goldfarb, play clarinet. We also have Bill Selden, who plays accordion. We have Richard Bookbinder, who plays both piano and a melodica. We have Jill Davida Bloom, who plays flute and piccolo. Asher Dave Siebert, who plays the trumpet. And Rob Dave Lowe, who plays the fiddle. Originally started with my going to Klez Camp, which is a music camp for Klezmer music, which is the kind of music you've just heard. I told Dave about that. Dave, oh, I guess I have to say which Dave. I told Dave Schiff about that. He came for a year. Really had a great time there. We sing in the choir with Dave Schlossberg, and the three of us started. Different people have different backgrounds in this group. In my case, I grew up playing straight classical music, being used to have the music right in front of my face. And so the first time I went there, I enjoyed listening to the music, but had never played it before. And it was a new experience, learning tunes by ear, learning ornamentation. So you try not to play everything the same thing each time. And it's been a wonderful experience. And I've gone to 7 Klez camps in a row now.
I'm Dave Schiff, and I'm just thrilled to be playing with such a talented group of musicians. I just want to say that first. I've been really playing instruments for a number of years. I've been playing primarily blues harp and Middle Eastern percussion and various drums and things like that. And really, this is the first time I had the opportunity to play bass in an ensemble. And what really got me excited was going up to Klez Camp and having the opportunity to play with the leading lights in the field. Jim Gutman from the Klezmer Conservatory Band, Pete Socolow, Frank London and members of the Klezmatics. I mean, the fact that we can go and play with people that are, the lead musicians in this kind of really just fun musical area.
I'm Bill Selden. I've lived in New Jersey for many years, although I'm from Dayton, Ohio. And I got into klezmer Jewish music because I was playing the music from the southeastern part of Europe. I was in what was then Yugoslavia. I was in a Yugoslav folk dance company, and you had to play a variety of things from that region. And we actually toured in Yugoslavia, and we came back from the tour. The clarinet player was the old Klezmer boy in the band, and he got a couple of us together.
Yeah, we often play out. Given that bass Dave has the largest instrument other than the piano, we often meet at his house, and you can find us in the summers playing on his front lawn.
hello. And I think I first met the two of the original Daves at a gathering of the Highland Park Minion, and I overheard them saying they were having a rehearsal later that day or the next day, and I just sort of asked if I could come along, and that was my really first time playing klezmer music. I guess I'd heard it a little bit. I had one or two CDs at home. There's what I believe is the best-selling klezmer CD of all time is the Itzhak Perlman CD in the Fiddler's House, and I had that and a few other CDs. But so I'd listened to the music, and I liked it. And of course, I basically enjoy anything with a violin in it.
Hi, I'm Jill Bloom, and I play flute and piccolo. I am the most recent addition to this ensemble. I'm fairly new to New Jersey. I've only lived here about a year. I have a classical background, very much so. I started playing flute when I was about 8 years old. I went to school for music education, so I am a music teacher as well. And so I was very happy to come across the other members of this group, and it was through my joining the choir in Highland Park, because I sing with them as well.
Hi, I'm Dave Schlossberg. I'm a 29-year-old pianist from West Windsor, near Princeton. So, as you expect, I travel a bit to get to the rehearsals and to perform with these guys, but they're all worth it. My musical background is basically I grew up around Jewish music. I'm an accompanist, actually, so I play for a bunch of groups, mostly Jewish groups, mostly choirs around the area. And I also do ballet, not personally, but I play music for a ballet school, actually 2 ballet schools, both of which don't know that I'm working for the other one.
Yeah, hi, I'm Rich Bookbinder. I'm the representative from TNEC. I grew up mostly with popular music. That was what they called it in those days. And what little exposure to what is now referred to as klezmer was from a couple of books that were published that a lot of musicians had in those days when somebody requested one of those tunes. They're called the Cayman books. And it was like you played it because someone asked for it. And I did not have an appreciation for it then. My parents were into Latin music, you know, mambos, cha-chas, rumbas, which is what they were featuring in the Catskills. So I had very little to do with klezmer until after I retired as an attorney. I retired and I decided to go back into music.
Hi, I'm Asher Siebert, and I play trumpet in this ensemble. Sometimes I play piano. And I, somewhat like Dave Goldfarb, started off with classical training and some jazz as well. So in college I was in my orchestra and in my jazz ensemble. And actually it was through my jazz ensemble that I sort of got an introduction to klezmer music, because some of the other people in the jazz ensemble started a klezmer group that recently celebrated its bar mitzvah. It started in 1998, so it had its 13th anniversary. The very excellent klezmer group, Klez Dispensers.
name of the group is Zuveel Davids, which is Too Many Daves. And here's a copy of Michelangelo's David. And it's actually based on a not so well-known poem of Dr. Seuss called Too Many Daves. If you want to look it up, it's in this book called The Sneetches.